This is not just a water body, it's a tremendous phenomena, so we'll set up a certain process. Till then, nobody touch the water, nobody enter the lake. We will set up a certain process so that you will be receptive to what's happening there. This is not just another body of water, this is something else.
I don't know enough English words to even describe it. I don't know any words to describe it.
It's very emotional. I'm finding it a little hard to speak right now. I don't know. I'm just amazed that I've come here in the presence of Sadhguru. I just can't thank whoever it is I need to thank for this moment.
You heard of Tethys? Tethys Sea is generally held as the very crucible of human civilization. It is believed that everything came out of it. So this Tethys Sea, because of movement of the continental plates, got pushed up. There are three small remnants of Tethys: the Caspian, the Aral Sea and the Manasarovar. Just about a year ago when we came here, it was one big surprise. In many ways I was coming to a point in my life, or I had come to a point in my life long ago where it's almost like nothing can surprise me. Just about when you're about to believe that everything worth knowing has been known, suddenly a whole new dimension pops up about which you're clueless. One thing is clear here, this we are 100% sure, is there's a tremendous amount of activity in the lake. And this activity is… the nature of the activity is such that it has nothing to do with anything that we know as life on this planet. It's something totally different. It's life, but not the way we know it. Last time we made experiments here. Just as an experiment, we set up one body and set up this body like an invitation. And they didn't even hesitate for a moment, they were on. When this was set up and when these beings entered, they're in bunches, they're not individual. When they entered the system, I thought, let me restrain them for some time and see. Just held them down for a while and, enormous amount of temperature was created.
I was asked to lie down in Shavasana. It was like a 1000-watt electricity just passing through me. And after that, what I felt was something was placed on my head. I really had no idea what it was, but it was extremely hot to the point of discomfort that was placed on my head.
When I just opened her up a little bit and set up a situation for that, they just simply rushed through her system in such a violent way, entering through the Swadhisthana and leaving through the Sahasrara in a brisk moment. I knew that if we restrain, it'll generate temperature and it could cause damage to the person's body. So we kept a bowl of water just above the head when the person is lying down, just about 6 inches away from the head. Within a minute's time, this ice-cold water was boiling. If that bowl of water was not there, her head would have been scorched for sure. It could even destroy the system completely. So we don't wish to do such things. That time we came and it was such a surprise and we had to know what it's about. I wouldn't call Manasarowar a spiritual place because spirituality is out of human being. These beings, if you can call them that, they don't belong to anything that we know as life. So for now, due to lack of words, we'll call them beings. Their nature is nothing to do with who we are and what we are, on this level at least. So this is not really a spiritual place, but somehow life from somewhere has chosen this almost like an airport. They're just landing, taking off, landing, taking off at a tremendous pace. And this pace, we noticed last year, just takes on a real, like a peak hour pitch between 2:30 a.m. and 3:45 a.m. It's almost like clockwork. We noticed it just for 2 nights, but I'm sure it's happening every night. They seem to be simply behaving out of tendencies without any conscious intent, but at the same time, they seem to know all the aspects of how a human being operates. So such energy, such beings, or whatever you want to call them, they cannot go without influencing us in so many different ways, probably in a very fundamental way, which somehow humanity is unwilling to acknowledge for whatever reasons. When I was just looking at this in a certain way, the Hindu legends and the yogic legends, both of them claim that Shiva was self-created. That means he just happened. That means he had no parents, he just happened. I'm just wondering if he was one of them. It's just conjecture. But when I look at the way the man lived, the way he revealed life like nobody had ever done ever before, the depth of everything that he has done, it's possible that he could have been one of them. A man like him, who in his own time was worshipped as a god, at least there must have been a grave. Maybe he left with them. Because India is a place where they preserve their graves forever. Yogis who died thousands of years ago, still their samadhis are maintained and kept. Why wouldn't they keep Shiva's samadhi? This is all conjecture. There's no fact to support this. This is just crazy. This doesn't stand to any reason. Why for millions of years one particular spot on the planet has been used by life which doesn't belong here. Why? And why the same place? And why for so long? Kailash Parvat. It's just about 10-15 kilometers from here as the crow flies. Two such very large phenomena could not be happening in such a small geographical space without being somehow connected. My experience or my knowing or my contact with beings which do not belong to this realm have been there always. Every yogi is aware of these things, but never have ever imagined that it can happen in this volume. Yoga can be transmitted in many different levels. One is towards one's physical and mental well-being, or it could be transmitted as a tool for ultimate well-being, or it can be used as a key to open up the mystical dimensions of life. Whenever I have any kind of encounter with such things, I've always found them very shy. This is the first time I'm seeing they have simply no qualms about it. In fact, they're eager. That's why I say this, that they must have a role in our making, otherwise they wouldn't be so eager to be involved. Before we move to Kailash, I think it's good if we look back and see what's been the significance of being here at Manasarovar. I don't want to go about describing what's happening because it'll just fire up imagination and throw your perception off gear. It's better, you don't see anything, it's fine. It's good you don't see anything. You start seeing things which are not there, that's dangerous. Of course, the pilgrims who come here, they have their own stories. Every day they will see Shiva coming out of it, Parvati coming out of it, all those things. That's for the Indians, and if people from outside come, they see many other things. All these things that they're seeing, one thing is it may be just cultural. But when I just stand there and look at it, whatever imaginations they may have may be corrupting their vision, but I think everybody who came here saw something they were not able to decipher, so they use whatever is in their mind, they just put that picture into that, what's happening there. But it's not happening without substance. Something is happening. Nobody can go untouched by this, nobody. There is no way one can go untouched. The water is just electric. Temperature-wise, what do you think it is? 1 degree? I don't know if you noticed, there were cubicles of ice floating on the edge. It's just 0 or just over. That's not a comfortable place to be for anybody. But many of you, if not all of you, many of you are absolutely comfortable in that kind of temperature. That doesn't happen in normal water. Today morning I put those 4 people in the front and because of their particular condition, whatever. And I think 2-3 of them really went into a tizzy today. You noticed there were 4 people lying down in the front? Maybe if one of them shares their experience, it would be good.
ப்ராசஸில் இருக்கிறப்போ ஏதோ கண்டினியூஸாக என்கிட்ட வந்து போகிற மாதிரி இருந்துச்சு. சில டைம் பார்த்தா நிறையா பீன்ஸ் மாதிரி நிறையா பேர் இருக்கிற மாதிரி இருந்தது. கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமாக என்னோட பையன் அந்த லேக்குள்ளே போகிற மாதிரி அந்த மாதிரி.
Since yesterday they've been tugging at my ring finger. When I look at that, this ring finger, I can open up the whole cosmos if I have the time. It's just a question of time. This is the very key to the whole existence. A human system has been built like this, that an access and a key has been given to us, that if we are willing to use it, we can open up the whole cosmos with this. This I believe is essentially human. If some other form of life knows about it, either they have a role in making us or they know what we know somehow. Or maybe we came to know of these things much later than them. Or maybe it's one of them who taught us all this. The more and more I look at it, it looks like it's one of them who taught us all this. Now I'm sounding like a UFO freak. I don't like this. So whatever you see, whatever you experienced, not only here, right through this whole spiritual journey, whatever you have seen and experienced is of no consequence unless it can leave a transformation in you. You saw God, so what the hell? What about seeing God? If it doesn't leave you in some way transformed, you saw God or devil, what difference does it make? You saw God, I saw a banana, what about it? You think it's any less? When you're hungry, you will realize which is more. So whether it's at Manasarovar or Kайлаш or Isha Yoga program, that's all that's important. Is it in some way leaving you transformed? Is it in some way making you into a higher possibility? Or are you just the same fool talking about fantastic things? That's the big difference. Today is Guru Purnima. It is a fortune today that we are here, which is the place of the Guru, the Adi Guru. In the general Hindu tradition, the Buddhists, the Jains, all of them have held this as a very valuable day.
Let's go, let's go.
Shiva Shambho.
Shiv Shambho. Shiv Shambho.
Shiv Shambho.
Shiva Shambho, Shambho. Shiva Shambho, Shambho. Shiva Shambho, Shambho. Shiva Shambho.
This whole area, from Far East Asian countries to the Indian subcontinent, to the Central Asian countries including Russia and all this, And even in spaces as far as Middle East, in all these places, Kailash has been held as a very sacred space for centuries. So, I want you to walk with that sanctity, with that reverence, that you're putting your ugly boots on Shiva's face. But it's okay if you walk with the right sense of devotion in the offering, but don't walk blatantly. That's not a space to walk blatantly. One will pay for it. So the Hindus consider it as the abode of Shiva. You must understand, when we say Shiva, we are talking about two different aspects at the same time. Sometimes we are referring to Shiva as the yogi, the Adiyogi. And sometimes when we say Shiva, we are talking about the ultimate nature of the existence. The word Shiva literally means that which is not. So why is that which is not so important? That which is not comes into your focus only when you start seeking your ultimate well-being. When you're seeking immediate well-being, that which is very important. Today, modern scientists, one part of it they know, the rest of it they believe, that the core of every galaxy is a huge space of nothingness, and slowly it is sucking the universe in. It's from this understanding we are holding Shiva as the highest possibility, because ultimately everything gets sucked in. If you get sucked in willingly, then it's the most blissful experience. So, modern science is slowly coming to terms with Shiva. The first time that you saw Kailash, that's the southern face. That is Agastya's. So, Agastya Muni deposited his work into the southern face. Everything that you learn as Isha Yoga is just a small part of his work. The Buddhists believe that nothing else in the whole existence reverberates with as much vibrance as Kailash. So they say this is the axis of the universe. In yoga, human spine itself is seen as the axis of the existence. A human being has this possibility that he can become the very core of the existence itself. It looks different from the surrounding mountains. It could have risen from a deeper part of the earth, which can happen geologically, or many people believe that it's a large meteorite. This movement of these continental plates could also have brought this up. Shi in Sanskrit means Shakti or the energy. Va means to have mastery over. Shiva is one who has mastery over the energy of the existence. Shiva has always been seen as the greatest yogi, absolute mastery over everything around him. So here when we say Kailash, we are talking about the yogi who did not find anybody to deposit his knowledge in. So he chose this particular peak. The idea of giving you a glimpse of something is so that you'll have the sense to work for it, create the necessary strength and system within you where you can receive and experience and live in ways that human beings have not even imagined. You must understand, when people came in the past from South India, they walked. I want you to just visualize yourself. From Coimbatore, you walked to Kailash, did the parikrama and went back to Coimbatore walking. I just want you to visualize what it would take. Even when I walked the spiritual path for 3 lifetimes, I did everything a man can do, every kind of hardship. I've been to many truly sacred places. I've been to many truly powerful places. I've seen many powerful beings. When I bow down to them, I'm genuine, but I bow down to them a little less than I would bow down to my Guru. When I bow down to Kailash, I bow down to him the same way I would bow down to my Guru. Never before I've done that in my whole life. That's all I can say. If you're a seeker, it's everything.
How beautiful upon the mountain are the feet of the messenger. This has been the journey of my life.
It's vibration. Still, I'm feeling the vibrations of Kailash.
Just 2 weeks before, my friend who did a Manasar tour, they came from Sinikot and they spent for 7 days, but they could not see the Mount Kailash. But we were so lucky that we saw all the time Mount Kailash, from Manasarvar. For last 4 days we saw all the time Manasarvar. I was very amazed and impressed, Guru.
I hope you really carry a little bit of Kailash with you, in your heart and your mind. If you keep it alive, it can bring about a huge change in the way you live.